That's the key for me here, is that SoaR just like, they're light years above the other three teams here. I think Denial played well enough, but keep in mind, Denial was playing against Envy, who did not show up whatsoever. You know, so it's just, it seems to be SoaR and three other teams here.
I don't know. We're going to have to see. SoaR versus Denial is going to still be interesting, and this is only the first game for Enemy up against SoaR, or period for them this weekend. So I'm not ready to put SoaR locked into Super Regionals quite yet.
I am.
But it's close.
I think that Enemy still has a long road ahead of them. Their last game wasn't as bad as it could have been. The way SoaR just destroyed Envious is not the same the way SoaR won that last game against Enemy. It took a little bit more time. It was more calculating in the way SoaR was aggressing against Enemy. And I think there's still a lot of tactics that Enemy can pull out. They're more versatile than Envious.
I will agree with that. I have not yet written off Enemy, but I'm pretty close. I got my pen in my hand. I'm very curious to see, because I agree. The casters said it, and I think both of you guys said it, that Enemy they were kind of like playing SoaR's game. They weren't really doing Enemy things. Everything just kind of seemed just haphazard. So I think Enemy need to come back, dial it back a little bit, stick to their own guns, and see what happens. They're going to ban Nemesis and Thor. They've obviously got a big eye on that jungle position. Giannis and Odin taken away from Enemy.
But they left Kuang open here, so maybe this is a strategy where they're expecting SoaR to take Kuang, and maybe it's going to be Enemy that's going to be playing the Raw, not allowing the Snoopy to pick it up. But instead of leaving that open, it's going to be Terra locked in.
So we'll have to see if Enemy wants to go for raw Kuang, you know, keep both of those gods out of the hands of SoaR, but that's kind of pigeonholing yourself into two gods that maybe you weren't exactly prepared to play. You know, it's impossible to say what Enemy has been preparing for. Instead, it's going to be Erlang Raw, looks like, both being hovered over here by Enemy. And this is the Eager setup. SoaR ran it earlier. This is what Eager did, and I like these two picks. The problem is that you gave up Terra, and Terra up against Ra can put him into a really awkward spot, because Ra, no movement abilities, can't get out of that really, really long route from the Monolith into the stun combination from Terra. So if Jigz is able to play up in Ra's face, it'll make it hard for Khaos to do his job.
Right there, hovering behind PainDeViande is sub and Coach Fierno. He helps out a little bit with the picks and bans. Another New York City guy, just saying. But he helps out a lot with the picks and bans, and he did not help last match. So we'll see if it turns around this time around with the Eager setup. Kuang being hovered over here for the SoaR jungler Andinster. You can see him right there.
I love the Terra Kuang combination. Just giving Kuang that movement speed to chase you down and find those executes and find that damage, I think synergizes really, really well. Rom being hovered over here for Metyankey looked very, very comfortable on this character in the last game. I have no problem with him picking it here. However, you would expect to see the Jing Wei. I mean, Jing Wei is like the combination with Terra.
Rom, a hunter into a Ra is a positive matchup in my eyes. I think that Ra can get huntered pretty easily. And Snoopy,
It could be Snoopy playing the Rama in the mid lane, but honestly, the way Metyankey was playing it the last game, very carefully in the early game, there was not much boxing between PandaCat and Metyankey. It was just more of a team-oriented fight out of SoaR Gaming, very methodical about every little positioning that they did around the Gold Fury, so I'm expecting more of the same style. I don't expect Jigz and Metyankey to be making plays in the dual lane.
Ooh, the Osiris. We saw this last time North America came to LAN. Walrus actually wound up playing it, and it was interesting. It came down to a battle of the solo laners where all four members of their respective teams were just not doing well, and the problem was Walrus couldn't carry because he was on Osiris. What do you think? What are the positives that Osiris bring to a team?
Osiris is just very aggressive, and that's what you want to do. You want to have the early game lead advantage in the solo lane, and that's something that Marauder hasn't been really doing much lately, especially against such a formidable opponent as Baskin.
Why go Osiris instead of the Robin?
At this point, it's probably because he might want to ban it out after this Ryze and try to limit Baskin's god pool, because Baskin is known to play aggressive, but they left the Raven open, so now it might be the Osiris versus Raven matchup, unless it's going to be the Vamana also in the late game.
I was thinking Vamana for SoaR right away, just because we see Terra and Vamana work so well together. It gives Vamana that extra movement speed that he needs in the big baby form to ensure that he's stomping down the characters like Ra. And the other thing that I think that Osiris brings to the table over Raven here is that Judgment Tether will go out to Kuang even when he's invisible. So you can track him down a little bit more easily. You're not as concerned with that stealth as you would be on a character like Robin.
But knowing enemy, they also prefer the Arachne to deal with Ao Kuang for the same reason.
Very
if you
true.
find the web, you'll be able to trace him under his footsteps.
Love the bans coming out from enemy. The first round of bans, what they do is they take care of what they think is an issue for them. They take care of Thor and Nemesis. They say, all right, Andinster is an issue for us. And then the second round of bans, they take out what's an issue for SoaR. All right, we have the Ra and Raijin and Agni. Those are Snoopy's gods. Your move. And now SoaR have to figure out how comfortable they feel, or rather how comfortable Snoopy feels on some of the other mages. I think enemy has crafted this, at least the ban phase, very intelligently.
Considering they have the Ao Kuang in the jungle, that means they could play a hunter mid. Now, they could essentially have two physical hunters here. They could just run Neath in the mid lane, which is great setup with the Ao Kuang. You find the global presence in either side lane that you want, and you can easily set up another route on top of Terra's route and stun.
Or it could just be Rom in Snoopy's hands, because, you know, it's Snoopy and Marvels are the two Ramas. I'm not going to say anything about Marvels if you guys saw.
You're going to get
the Twitter.
montaged again, kid?
Tom, could you even get in that game if you queued up?
Yeah, I could.
Maybe.
Yeah, I got to plug in my controller like you.
That's right. So Jingwei is going to be the selection, it looks like, and I'm assuming that's going to be Jingwei Terra in the duo lane. We talked about that synergy. When you think of Terra, what hunter do you want with her? Jingwei, and it's going to be really devastating, and we get to see Snoopy on this ROM.
Yeah, and the Arachne, as predicted, enemy is going to come out, and they've got a lot of tools to combat the Ao Kuang. It is Andinster's Ao Kuang, who earlier today went 6-0 and some ungodly number. I'm pretty sure it was plus 10. So that's an issue. Will it be enough for? Will it be enough? Enemy's got a lot of tools. Will it be enough to take care of him?
There's a lot of aggressive early game gods, so Arachne, then Anhur, Erlang, Shen in the dual lane. So enemy needs to win hard and in the early game.
I just can't bet against SoaR right now.
Yeah.
They look too clean. I got to go SoaR 2-0.
Enemy, they've got a front-loaded team to say the least. SoaR versus enemy. It's Graham and it's Kevin.
Well, they did say on the analyst desk there that it's a very early game composition from enemy. Obviously, in the early game, they do control the jungle well with the Arachne and the Anhur as well. But will it be enough to stop the powerhouse? And I can call on that quite easily now. Of SoaR.
Again, they got that. They got the Eager strat, right? They got the Erlang Shen, PainDeViande, very tenured in warrior support, similar to Trix Tank. Not the same aggressive playstyle, but something that he's very comfortable and confident in. I'm actually really surprised that we didn't see the Guan Yu last game. Instead, he elected for that Kumba just to deal with the Nemesis, but he never really got a chance. Enemy never got a chance to really have a full-on team fight. The dominance shown by SoaR so far in the first 3 sets overall, it is astounding.
It is very, very good for themselves there as well. Although I do notice in SoaR's composition here, obviously, lane clear in the mid lane is not something that they're going to have at their disposal here. Unless, are they going to put Jingwei or the
It's
Rama
possible,
in mid?
and that's the thing. Like, you don't really know, and I think both work out. I think this will be more about players than anything else, where it's just Met and Snoopy, who's going to be more comfortable on which god. I do like the Jingwei in mid more. Again, much better wave clear, as well as the contest for mid harpies. That gust in those small. Actually, I think I would more than I think about it, I really would prefer that Jingwei in mid, just because there's so many fights and kind of standoffs around the mid harpies, and that gust covers almost that entire area.
But then you put the Rama up against an Anhur, and that matchup does favor Anhur in the early stages. We talk about enemies combi in early game.
It is, but it doesn't matter. You have Terra. They're going to put out so much pressure against the Anhur, against the Erlang, and even if they sit in their tower, that's not that big of a deal for SoaR. I think they're okay with losing pressure in that dual lane if needed. But they do have to worry about the pressure across the map, because that Raw will have that very quick clear.
On top of that, the Erlang Shen going over to PainDeViande, more than likely this game is, well, as we go into it, it is going to be him on the Erlang Shen. And to be fair, we've not really touched on this much, but PainDeViande was one of the first proponents of the Odin. The warrior supports was one of his go-tos at Guan, you mentioned earlier.
I still remember he actually has the most assists in an SPL match playing Odin. He's just very confident in the warrior supports. He likes to do that extra little bit of damage, and he feels like he plays it appropriately here. I don't think anyone's going to be fighting Andinster just running away.
Well, not surprising to see how well it'll do in lane against a Terra and it's going to be the Jingwei here.
Yes.
The cripple will come into play against any of the two hunters that it was there anyway, and it'll also shut down Jigz from dashing away.
This is comfort. Obviously, Snoopy going to be going for that ROM. Snoopy's snipes are amazing, right? You got to give shoutouts to Marvels. I know aggro does too, but Snoopy was the first one to have those godlike snipes on the big stage.
Well, for that Reddit viewer that shouted out Shattered for his Arachne play previously, and the fact that he didn't put webs down correctly, it looks like Shattered has made the adaptation here and put down the webs correctly now.
I remember that. That was pretty funny. He's like,
I just remembered it now when it's on the webs down.
He was so mad at Shattered, not only for the build, but his start, and he wrote like, what, a book? He wrote a book on how Shattered should be clearing
pros
the
listen
Kiv's
though.
early game.
Clearly pros listen because he's done exactly what he needs to in the early game. Make sure he gets both webs dropped to make full use of it and make sure you can get the quickest possible
And again,
clear.
this Arachne, they talked about it on the desk, really strong counter to Kuang. You have that dot that will pop him out of his stealth, along with the webs that'll chase him. And honestly, Osiris has a really good matchup as well, where that tether will find Kuang in stealth, and you're going to be able to see where he's at, and that's a really wide range. On top of that, the anti-healing against the Terra, really good pressure in lane against the Vamana. I really like the style for enemy, and I like that they've made the adjustment going more for early game pressure this time instead of relying on mid game and late game team fights, because they just lost that one fight and then it just was out of control because SoaR played everything so perfectly. There was I didn't see a single bad play from them.
Well, on the right hand side, you did see enemy get the right hand harpies and the fire elementals there as well. Left one still available for SoaR to take. They do have presence in the mid lane right now, which is giving them an advantage. But look at the superior clear coming out from both teams here. Pain taking a trade here. Those archers are swinging away at him, but he's getting some good poke damage off in return.
Ooh, really good poke damage. That was just so much pressure. You saw PandaCat. I like what they did. They actually pulled aggro by attacking Met, and then they actually moved to the left a little bit from their perspective, which drew the minions out, which means the Anhur could stand close and actually just impale instead of having to worry about Jingwei's Gust, which typically sits on those melee minions.
And on top of that as well, this dual lane, very important, I think, for both teams. It's up to SoaR here to weather the storm of this early couple of trades here and make sure they even things out and start to get the lane push going for themselves if they can, just because of the difference in mid lane. Otherwise, Gold Fury is definitely exposed. This whole left-hand side of the map goes the way of enemy otherwise.
And, you know, it's early pressure. You just got it. You got to utilize it. We saw Envy actually have that chance against Denial with those double globals as well as the Wrath on Cyclone Spin, but they weren't able to showcase what that could bring. They just played passively, and it's very important for enemy here not to play passively.
Well, PandaCat took a lot of free poke there as well. Jigz did, but he was doing it to set up to make sure Panda couldn't clear the wave out, so he actually gave his team a bit of advantage there for a second, but superior wave clear with the pain coming in.
Despite
as well.
how this is going, I actually think SoaR have a little bit of an edge right now, simply because so many potions have been burned by PainDeViande and PandaCat. Terra has that monolith, going to be able to heal everyone up. You can see now, PainDeViande and Panda have to run.
Great purification coming out from PandaCat there. You did see one crit come through onto Panda, and Panda will have to back way up on this backside.
That's the biggest issue that happened in that lane, where PainDeViande goes incredibly aggressive, but because he takes so much damage, he had to burn through his potions very early on, and he's gone for the Watcher, so he doesn't have Death's Toll to sustain him back up. And now SoaR are going to have the pressure in that dual lane, which limits enemies' options in this, you know, the first couple minutes and first spawns or second spawns of the buffs.
Well, they look at the fire elementals left hand side though. PandaCat has to leap away, has no purification. Remember, he burnt it a little bit earlier on here, and he's level 5.
Met just hit 5. If he was 5 right as Panda jumped, I bet you Met ults there, follows up, chases him down, probably first blood, and enemy getting a little bit lucky there.
Well, on the right hand side of things, you can see Baskin just trying to farm up the best he can up against the Marauder on the Osiris. Still not gone back to base yet, Marauder here, so Baskin with a little bit more power with those Warrior Tabby online.
That 40 power going to allow him to clear the wave a little bit more effectively. Obviously, TP up for both. Met came back in, but nothing's going to happen. Just stopping PainDeViande's back. They're not going to kill him, but they're just going to annoy him. And now he's going to be slow to get back to defend this red buff.
And the red buff has already been started here by Andinster, and Snoopy rotating in as well. Somehow they got lane pressure. I guess more to do with the speed buff clears than anything else to get that
Look
pressure.
At Shattered. Oh, Shattered just back. I thought he was waiting for them to come around the corner. I'm like, is he going to 1v3? I don't think that's the best option, but he's just going to back, get his boots online. We just saw Osiris back as well, get their boots, and so now enemy going to be in a little bit better of a spot. They have power spikes right now. They could utilize them.
They do have power spikes, but at the same time, they just lost their red buff for free on that left-hand side there as well, when they should have had pressure in the mid lane and in the dual lane. At least they did for the time being, until SoaR back. But Andy, back to the solo lane he goes, thinking about going aggressive here, and if he sees an ability used by Marauder a little bit too quickly, well, he may go in.
Baskin's just baiting himself so well right now, and look at that, Marauder comes back in. And he's forced to ult, and all that happened was Andinster walked around the corner. I mean, that's a big win for them. Now Osiris is going to be vulnerable for another 90 seconds, and both Baskin and Andinster will have their ults for it.
Well, Pain going to get almost hit by that crush there, but sustain from Khaos is available. Playing the Ra this game, not something we've seen him on recently, but he has got it in his god pool.
Yeah, Khaos is someone who actually brings out, it seems every event he has like 3 gods that he sticks to. Andinster! Don't do that to them!
Don't do what to them? All he did was walk away.
He just completely outplayed them.
I mean, he didn't really. He just walked in the direction and hoped for the best. And it worked. So I guess he did outplay. I guess. So.
Listen, man, we've had 5 stomps. I'm trying to find something here. That was a good play. I liked it. The quick little juke back, right? They had no idea.
I don't give credit to people who stealth, okay? Like, unless it's
all
me,
those
I'm like,
players.
I'm so good. Well, this time round, it's Baskin under pressure here, but he's just going to be able to dash away. They didn't even force the ultimate out, unfortunately, so Shattered unable to find the gank he was looking for.
Yeah, just Shattered. You saw him try and position himself to the side of the Mana so we wouldn't get knocked up by that dash, but he couldn't get there in time. Baskin recognizes it, makes sure to knock him up, and then there's just no hope for Arachne to really chase him down. But Andinster's back. Marauder, low cooldown on his ult. Can we actually see how long till that's back up?
I mean, Marauder should be okay here at the moment. Andinster was looking to try and put some pressure on, but being so pinned back under his tier 1, his ultimate is now available, as we were expecting as well, so not a big surprise there, but we might as well just set a 10 up in the solo lane at this rate for both the junglers to take turns in going to.
Hey, you know what? If solo laners are vulnerable to ganks, why not send them over there? Arachne obviously has all that early game damage. You really want to utilize this, and look at this. Shattered already back to the right-hand side here. Going to find Baskin.
Who just dashes straight away, and there's no harm, no foul there. Obviously, Baskin was looking towards the speed buff area there, just trying to get the time on the cooldown to see when it's available, which it is due up very soon. But both speeds look like they should be taken by their teams.
Like, Shattered is so worried about an invade. There's like 2 waves he would have been able to split by now or get farm elsewhere on the map. I mean, it would have just been the waves, but he was so worried about the invade, he just sat there for 30 seconds waiting for his speed buff to respawn.
Well, speed buff to both the junglers there. Fundamentals went the way of SoaR Gaming as well. As you can see by the lead at the moment in this game, it's approaching 1,000 right about now in favor of SoaR.
This is fine for now. Obviously, just superior farming coming out of SoaR. They got that pressure in the dual
lane.
Here's the
pressure onto Andinster now. Andinster under a bit of pressure, but so is Shattered, who's forced to purify. Snipe did not really hit onto anyone there. Snoopy just able to walk away. Marauder and Baskin both make the rotation, but it was a fight over the right and harpies that go the way of enemy.
Enemy a little bit unsure. You could see Marauder even when he ulted, or excuse me, Shattered even when he ulted. He goes up, he kind of comes back. Nice pin, and Snoopy to the sky.
And will he be able to get away again? He's got the monolith on the ground from Jigz, waiting for him when he does land down to sustain back up, and there he goes, getting it off.
Just a quick reaction time from him. I did like the, Shattered trying to force that fight. I do think enemy really need to start to get rolling now. They can't let this game go into late game when, up against a Ram, a Jing, and an Kuang, and not just any Kuang, Andinster's
PainDeViande is wrapping around the back here of the team, looking for the pin, not going to find it. Great roll away from Snoopy, and Pain gets punished a little bit with a bit of poke damage there as well. And you mentioned it there, Adonis, as well. We were talking, the analysts were talking about early games should go the way of enemy. They need to try and snowball this game. Well, they're 1,000 gold down right now.
We see them trying, though. It's not for lack of trying. They're not just sitting back like Envy did. They're looking for opportunities. SoaR are just playing so well this lane. No one's getting out of position. This is seriously reminding me of Energy. I think it was Barracuda who talked about, he's like, I have no idea how adapting gets pressure without Kuang, how he's able to invade our buffs when he shouldn't be able to in the early game. And, and a lot of it's based on positioning of not only himself, but his team. Teammates. And we're seeing that from SoaR where, yeah, enemy definitely have this early game, but they're not putting themselves in spots where they're going to be vulnerable to ganks. They're all playing super safe.
Well, both the SoaR lanes keep looking at each other's jungles whenever they can. The Fire Elementals have spawned here with the Gremlins if you're European. They're going to go the way of SoaR Gaming. I don't even know why they call Gremlins. I
don't know.
Over in Europe.
I mean, I guess
they
are a little bit.
They look nothing like Gremlins.
A little bit.
Do you put water on them? And then they grow and sprout more of them? No, that's not the case.
You should. What if
does not make that happen?
What if Hebo could kill them and then respawn double of them?
That could be pretty useful. Baskin over the solo lane, getting pressured again. That tether is still attached to him, however, but he's under the tower. He's going to wear off just before the start.
Even if he's stunned there, it doesn't really matter. Had his ultimate, no way Shattered and Marauder can combine for this gank. But what we haven't really seen executed too well is PainDeViande and Khaos. That combo, even at those right-hand mid-harpies. Khaos just ulted. He didn't wait for a pin, and that's what's super important about that Erlang Shen Raw combo. You're never supposed to just, I was about to say raw ult, a raw ult. But you're never just supposed to throw out that ult without the proper setup.
And the setup what you get from an Erlang Shen is the pin into the knockup from the turtle, which 100% guarantees you able to land that snipe every single time. We saw Aurora has been the one that really showed it off best so far for us.
And yeah, I mean, all teams have started to adopt that. Even Anderson said, he's like, yeah, we literally just copy-pasted what they did. And it worked for them so incredibly well. And I'm worried that enemy have done the same thing, but without preparing for it. It seemed they saw what SoaR brought out when they did it, and they just kind of, last game they tried to pick and ban against it. Now they're like, okay, let's play it. And I just don't know if it's something that they actually have practiced.
Well, last game it was kind of slow at the start, and SoaR did get a lead and just ran with it for the whole game. This time round, same sort of thing. Slow start between the two teams. No one actually dying yet. I say that as PainDeViande commits in here.
Two-man taunt there. The pillar gonna disrupt that fight a lot, but Jigz pops his ult. The team getting that extra movement speed, the heal as well, and easily SoaR just reset, and now Baskin's able to push forward, do a lot of damage onto Marauder. Metyankey's pushing up as well, and now SoaR have an opportunity here, especially if Baskin can find this kill.
Well, Lord of the Afterlife down as well. Snipes coming up from
range.
Snoopy. Not going to find any more than that. Shattered out of mana, so can't continue the pressure onto Baskin here either. And you can see actually the SoaR Gaming only used Jigz' ultimate there and then Snoopy's for a kill. Whereas the other side of things, you can see Marauder was forced to use his, and Khaos and Pain used theirs as well.
And SoaR have a couple options now. They're going to elect for the red buff invade. They probably could have pushed this tower in the mid, but they would rather play it safe. Again, SoaR really focusing on making no mistakes this game more than highlight plays. They know
Small
their
leads.
Composition. The later it goes, the better it gets. There's no reason to play enemy's game. Just play your own.
No attempt coming out from, well, attempt coming out from Pain there, but not going to be successful, which going to leave us at still just under 1,000 gold lead for SoaR at the moment. They still keep finding these wins. Enemy answer back a little bit, as you can see by the grass, but eventually it just keeps going SoaR's way.
And now Snoopy just trying to farm up. He's gone for the Ick file early game, so no lifesteal just yet. We can see Baskin actually going for that weakening curse, really wanting to deal with that raw. And that's something we've been lacking, I think, the first 5 games. We saw the sustain.
Hold that for Shadow, trading off with Andinster getting stunned, but with Snoopy rotating around, Shadow's under a bit of pressure here. Has his ultimate available, though, so he's just going to watch himself at how low he gets before he's forced to use it. But Shadow recognizing they couldn't follow up anymore.
That's done helping him a lot. I mean, if that stun doesn't go through, it's worrisome. First blood.
Beautiful play from Andinster, all set up from Baskin, and the communication was just so good from the two of them. Andinster came in at the right time, and guess what? He just hit 12, got Blink, and made it worthwhile.
And that's not something that Marauder's thinking about at that moment, probably. He's like, he doesn't have wards on the right-hand side. Andinster put pressure onto him, earlier, but it wasn't too worrisome. And again, just hitting level 12, probably didn't recognize that Blink was available for him.
And then just put him in a great spot. Now, level 12 now online for Snoopy, so he'll get his second relic to match that of Khaos, who has picked up his Sanctuary already and back to farming again. Warlock Slash online as well for that raw in the mid lane, something we've seen before, and people starting to recognize it's very, very useful.
It's a lot better now. The tier 2 became cheaper, so it's more efficient, to buy and wait for that tier 3. Also, it makes you so safe. You have so much health. You also, it gives you a good amount of mana as well. If you don't have any items that give you MP5, you can run out of mana. But I mean, once Warlock Slash is completed, there's no way you're ever gonna run out of mana if played properly.
Well, when you look at actually the solo laners and the junglers from the two teams, SoaR Gaming have a lead in both those roles now. Baskin getting the help from Andinster there has allowed him to get a 1-level lead over Marauder, and at the same time in the jungle, it's a 2-level lead for Andinster.
SoaR hits level 12. They have their double relics. They feel like now is the time to fight right now. Shattered has not picked his up, and this is going to be free, uncontested. Enemy realize it's going on. You saw PainDeViande rotate in, but he was just zoned out by Jigz.
Jigz did such good work there, just creating a zone there with Terra. He had the walls available and the monolith to root them if they try and come through. Khaos couldn't even get in range for the raw snipe, which was one of the potential issues that SoaR had with trying to go for that.
I mean, honestly, Terra works really well in smaller corridors because people are stacked up, that crushing earth. That covered like half the area.
Here. Hold that thought, 2 rooted in place, but double purification burn. Good little win for enemy there, but now Jig's going to go aggressive here, using the Terra's Blessing there to reinitiate for his team. On the backside, Baskin is here going in, but Lord of the Afterlife popped. No sustain for Baskin in that, but it's not going to be needed. Pain's in trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble trying to get out. He is in execute range, but it is body blocked. Baskin still comes up with the kill. Marauder taking so much damage. Metyankey diving, finds the last hit. It's Snoopy, and now Khaos zoned out as well.
And meanwhile, in the mid lane, PandaCat has turned up now, but he's not going to be able to do anything. His team have been routed round the back. The spiders crawling away back to the safety as the boys of SoaR just stepped it up a gear again.
I will not be surprised if enemy don't get a kill this entire set. I mean, just look at SoaR played game 1 and 2 are the same thing. Game 1 was Enemy looking for the early Gold Fury, getting caught with their pants down, okay, and then SoaR did nothing. They just farmed and farmed and farmed and farmed. Second Gold Fury, very similar to that fight right there. They recognize their power spikes, they force the fight, they play around their team so well. I love that. You saw Jigz go for the stun just to delay so Baskin could get that TP in into the back line.
On top of that now, SoaR Gaming, they get a red buff. They took the Gold Fury a little bit earlier on. They get a tier 1 tower in mid lane as well as that team fight. So extend their lead nicely as well. Full credit for me for Jigz and Baskin there. The communication was really on point because they got engaged on by PainDeViande. Jigz pops his ultimate, reinitiates because he knew he had Baskin coming around from the solo lane, and that's what forced the whole fight.
And the issue is enemy haven't had the chance to line up their combo just yet. You know, we haven't seen the Erlang Shens into the raw snipes, and that's all on SoaR. That's not enemy. That is SoaR just playing everything so well. Their positioning has been absolutely perfect, and now Shattered has gone into a Sunder, and this is because he really needs to kill some people. He really needs to focus off this, you know, either out Kuang or steal protections away from Baskin. There's multiple options he could go for, but what he's just looking to do is kill a single person in a team fight as fast as possible.
And you give Baskin an inch, he will take a mile. He's now got a 3-level lead over Marauder in the solo lane, and this is all down to the pressure that he's able to go from Andy supporting him in the early stages, and then that last team fight. But once again, Andy's back, and he's got Blink again.
Marauder, he is getting pretty low. Ults away towards his team, trying to escape. Anhur closing the gap there. And there's the Terra's blessing.
Going to speed him up and allow them to close the gap a little bit more. However, the Terra did pay off, but not well enough for the out Kuang ultimate to come through. Meanwhile, Baskin takes out Shadow, who was trying to support his solo laner. 2 kills for nothing, as meanwhile the rest of the team, well, Metyankey anyway, farming mid lane.
And then that's just because he pushed to the left-hand side. His team rotated to the right. There was going to be free farm in the mid. Now he's going to join them, take this tier 1 on right. It's only 1 hit. Baskin finishes it off. No blue buff and low mana, though, so he does have to be careful. But the call right now is to siege this tier 2. They do not have healing, so they need to be a little bit careful. But there it is. Terra's blessing, or Terra's obelisk comes up.
Well, PandaCat dropping that pillar down a little bit early there means they've got a bit of an easier advantage now at taking this down without that to block them or slow them down. Minion wave coming in, and they're going to start to siege it, not focusing on kills at all. Baskin on zone duty, if anything. But look at his mana. I don't know why they're running away from a little baby that can't do anything.
I mean, he's going to hit you real hard with his basics. I mean, he's level 18 right now. Highest level is 15 on the side of enemy. And you saw PandaCat there ult the wave, just trying to stop that tier 2 siege. It still falls down. SoaR don't even need the minions this late into the game. Also, the double hunters. We saw what they did last game, where they just sieged with the raw, super easy, and now they just have double hunters and Terra sustain. It's even more effective.
And on top of that, I mean, how do you even answer that back? If you look at how much pressure they just put on that tower, it was seconds for it to go down there. And the one thing you don't want to be in a game, and this is one thing we've not really seen too much out of Raw, is a Raw on a team that's behind. Because he's not as impactful as he is when he's ahead.
I mean, it comes down to the healing, but the issue is that SoaR have so much damage because they're so far ahead that the healing is not going to be effective at all. I mean, Andinster is almost going to, 100 to 0 you at this point once he completes that Polynomicon.
Andy feeling himself now going aggressive against 2, knowing that he could look for this speed buff invade to support there from Jigz and Baskin too. Shad under a lot of pressure here, but still trying to take a trade with Andinster, who gets the Terra blessing through, but Andinster's losing that trade pretty heavily to Shadow. But in the sky, Snoopy looking for the shot.
3! Finds them all, and Baskin does clean up. Goes big baby, 1 versus 3, under a tier 2. No fear from him. Shattered's rotated back in, trying to take out Andinster.
And he will get his ult off and fall back to the tower, but he's out of health now as well as out of his ultimate. And meanwhile, Metyankey, because of all this pressure that SoaR put on the right-hand side, has taken a free tier 1 tower.
And backing in unison there. Let's see who was the last to back. It was Baskin. Oh, no, it was Andinster,
actually. It was Andinster. A little bit later on that one. Pain's going to try and push up mid lane as a tier 2 has been shredded completely by Metyankey already. Shattered will be here, but 1 crit, and that's the Spider's like, no, I don't want any more of that. I'll walk away. You can have the tower, friend.
I mean, he's gone Runic Shield there, so he's reducing attack speed a little bit, but Metyankey does not care at this point.
Doesn't reduce crits, that's for sure.
14,800 experience lead. Over 10k gold.
If you were SoaR, this is exactly. If you're a SoaR fan, if you're a SoaR player, this is exactly how you would love this day to have gone. Because you walked in against Envy, Ruffle Stomp. You're walking into enemy, and honestly, it's looking like another Ruffle Stomp.
It's a clear Ruffle Stomp. I mean, they're giving a lot more respect to enemy than they gave to Envy. Against Envy, they're kind of just diving, doing a ton of stuff, but everything has been so calculated by them. I mean, even go back to that fight on the right-hand side. Andinster versus Shattered. I mean, you just saw Andinster not go aggressive. He just spaced himself out from Shattered, tried to bait him in, tried to get his abilities wasted to focus on him. Anhur just backed off once he felt like he was in a little bit of trouble, and then Shattered is forced to ult as he rotates back into the fight too.
Well, there's only one more team left to face off. Shattered is caught out in the jungle here, doesn't have his ultimate available right now, and the knockups are just coming through. Snoopy picks up a free kill on a rotation where Shattered was just looking to split push and farm up, man.
I mean, no minions, no wards, no teammates. By himself pushed up there.
I think if Denial are watching this now, Denial are definitely happy with the situation, I guess, knowing that the other two teams really looked average up against SoaR Gaming, but they've got to go against this team as well at some point.
Again, Denial has been the best looking team so far, but they also haven't faced SoaR yet, so we don't really know if that was them being better than the other teams or against Envy, or if this is just.
I'll be honest, like if the way this is looking today after day one,
this is brutal.
If Denial and SoaR go pretty even in the game and it looks very, very close between the two, Denial's taking second.
I think so as well. I mean, enemy again. This is not the enemy. I think from the spring split, or maybe this is just SoaR on another level. It's really hard to tell at this point because SoaR is looking the best they have ever looked. They're all very confident on land. Snoopy. There was a lot of questions, how is he going to do in mid? There was a little bit of shakiness at first, but...
What's he played so far? Raw?
Raijin, Ram?
And Rama.
All Rs. Ban all the R gods against him.
That's how you beat him. It's the only way. We'll leave Raven up. Leave Raven up.
Yeah, he's got to play Raven.
He's got to play Raven mid. I'll tell you, if he carried that, that'd be crazy. I'm done if SoaR win a game with that. Anyway, red buff being invaded by SoaR here. PandaCat is here to defend, looking to steal it away, make sure they don't get that one. And actually a little bit of pressure onto Metyankey there, who's forced to agility away. But in comes Andy looking for the kills.
Good meditation. Gonna keep Pain alive for now, but Snoopy rolls forward. Versus 3, gotta take to the sky, and they're all grouped, so the team fight damage is huge.
The Sanctuary already used by Khaos there to get away, but still being chased down by Baskin. The little baby wants more, now the big baby wants more too. You and your heels, chicken, but you're still gonna die again. Baskin straight onto the Phoenix.
And now it's just completely exposed off of Met split pushing earlier on. They got the sustain from Terra. They do not even need this Fire Giant. I mean, yeah, they're not even needing the regen from the Fire Giant because they're taking no damage at this point.
Right now, we jinxed the group. I mean, everyone was discussing group of death because it looked like it was on paper, but SoaR saying this is a group of death. This isn't a group of death.
SoaR are death.
They're the Reapers.
SoaR are death in this group. That is what it means.
Well, Jigz is just happy to stand on the front side. Enemy haven't found an answer to a single one of these kills that SoaR have found, or even one of those towers that have all been shredded, all the tier 2s and the tier 1s as well. Phoenix in mid lane going to fall down as well with the Fire Giant still on SoaR. They could be diving in for more.
And Met, I think he wants the win right now. Big crits. Andinster gets the last hit. Still a Phoenix on the right-hand side that SoaR have to deal with. They're going to be able to heal up. And now the Monolith just zoning out for now. PandaCat can't even get in at all. I mean, they're trying to stop Jigz, but he's so tanky, and this Phoenix is gone.
He's going to go down soon as well. They're looking for a couple more picks if they can find it, but for me, Adonis, I'm looking at enemy here.
Did they just double goose egg them?
At the same time, it looks like a double goose egg.
Did they just double goose egg?
That's pretty impressive.
Unbelievable.
Impressive.
The game's not over just yet. Maybe there could be a kill happening. You could see PainDeViande trying to line something up, but it's not there. 17 to 0.
12 to 0.
12 to 0.
Making everybody look below average is the best way I can put it. Not even average. Great performance for the boys of SoaR. Now enemy though, they've got to bounce back. They've got a set still to play today. And the team they've got to play against is Denial, who would be quite happy with what they saw.
I mean, if Denial put up a really strong performance against enemy, it's going to be really hard. I mean, they're going to have to go back to the drawing boards tonight, clearly figure out what went wrong, what adjustments need to be made, and we saw them. Again, I kind of mentioned it. I felt like they were going to come out with a different style team comp in Game 2. They did, but it was the exact same story.
The adjustments were
kills.
Good.
They were not able to do anything.
I think the adjustments in picks and bans were really solid from enemy for that game overall, but it just didn't work out for them whatsoever.
I mean, just SoaR played such an incredibly safe game, and then again, just Baskin really showcasing his dominance. Same thing that we saw from Benji against Envy there.
Really, really good performance from SoaR. I mean, yeah, and then the one gang from Andinster set that ball rolling for the whole game.
And I mean, they got the one kill, then again, it came down to those power spikes where they waited, they all hit level 12, they had double relics. We saw enemy, they had 3 members without their second relic just yet, and SoaR just abused that. They knew that's exactly when they wanted to fight. They went for the Gold Fury. They are playing so clean, because even when Energy dominates teams, they do try, I wouldn't say try and make flashy things, but sometimes they go off and, you know, do their own thing. Sometimes someone will die. But I mean, this SoaR team, just no mistakes.
They look absolutely scary. I mean, I know Halloween's coming, but that's actually scarier than most of I see at Halloween. Anyway, analysts are ready. Let's throw it over to them. F. Tolly and Aggro.
Man, that one stung a little bit, Hindu man. But honestly, it's SoaR that are doing the stinging here. These guys look out of their minds. I mean, the most prepped for sure.
The Vamana, Kuang, Ram, Terra, Jing, they gave SoaR everything that they really wanted to, I would think, in the second game, and they won actually quicker than the first game, which is really surprising against Enemy, which is such a good LAN team.
How do you not die in 2 sets? I mean, or in 2 games in a set. I mean, no kills for Enemy. And this isn't some pushover team. You know, I know they're the 7th seed coming in, but the overall, like, idea of Enemy coming in here was, can they bounce back? Can they look good? I mean, this is a team that went up against SoaR at DreamHack Masters, and that set went the full length. I mean, that took as many games as they played to get it done for SoaR. SoaR comes in and says, we're not playing a lot of games. We're not even playing long games here. We are just winning and winning fast.
I'm very interested in our next matchup, Enemy versus Denial. SoaR has sort of solidified. Okay, we get it, guys. You know, SoaR solidified themselves as #1. But was this matchup, was this SoaR just succeeding incredibly well, or was Enemy a little bit to blame?
I think it was all SoaR because they forced Enemy to change their style completely. They went into this early game composition. They got baited into the Ra pick, which even got out-healed by the Terra. So therefore, SoaR are just in the next dimension, I would say, at this point.
I mean, again, Ra right there, we saw how hard it was for him to back up, get the healing going, get the snipes from a distance. SoaR not only came prepared to play Ra, but to play against Ra. They were up in his face. It was impossible for Khaos to disengage because they were just chasing him down. The Snoopy snipes from the sky. Doesn't matter how far away you run from him, he's going to find you with those. Just unbelievable performance by SoaR.
Incredible stuff. SoaR comes up on top one more time. And at this point, well, let me update my SoaR. Well, let's just take a look at the standings. Mine just says SoaR in big block letters. We'll take a look at how this one lines up. They've got 6 points in total right now since they just took the one again, sweeping it. They'll play against Denial, and we'll see if they're able to keep up their reign of terror. If so, then they'll wind up with 9. But I think Denial, I think Enemy and Denial might have something interesting lying in wait. Very interested to see that. But it's Adonis with the man of the hour. It's Baskin standing by.
I'm here with solo laner Woonyoung Kim, better known as Baskin. Really dominant performance. You 4-0'd, you know, the 2-0 against Enemy, and obviously that past 2-0. How do you guys feel after how convincing those wins were?
We honestly feel great. Like, I don't know, we came into this group expecting it to be hard. You know, everyone said group of death and all that. But to pull out with 4 wins at the end of the first day, it's like, it's insane. Like, we're in such a good spot right now. Like, a lot of the pressure's off of us, and especially because the games are super clean. We had 0 deaths the last set, and I think like the first set we had like very minimal deaths. We're just really happy with our gameplay.
Do you feel like this was you guys playing at another level, or do you think the other teams just aren't bringing what you had expected from them?
Although it's hard to tell, I think it's a little bit of both. We did a lot of preparation for this LAN. We scrimmed, you know, multiple hours a day with our scrim partners, LG. Shout out to them because they're awesome. And I don't know. While we did think that the Envy and Enemy did underperform a little bit, we definitely overperformed. Snoopy, Andy, like me, we're all LAN veterans, and like Met and Jigz are just like really good on LAN because they don't have any nerves. They're just like, I don't know, like most people have nerves, but they're just like, they just play their game and do their thing. Yeah,
talk to me about Andinster, because he looked so good in all 4 games you played. And you know, I think the Andinster thing kind of died when he won that first SWC, but talking to some of the players in interviews, a lot of people were saying that, you know, he's very anxious. You know, himself admitting to that he has that anxiety at these LANs didn't really seem that way. Do you think anything was affecting him, or is he finally broken out?
I think Andy, I always joke about it with him, but like I always say like, you're so weird with your confidence, because like he'll be like, I'll talk to him like one day and he'll be like, dude, I'm like just the best by far, and then like I'll talk to him like an hour later and he'll be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm like a Challenger Cup player, and I'm like, all right.
Probably just fed in a ranked game or something right before.
Yeah, exactly. But he was really confident going into this LAN, and I don't know, like confidence isn't like spontaneous. Like we like prepared a lot, you know. That's like where confidence comes from. So I don't know. We just had solid strats going into it, and I think we executed them well.
Well, you still do have to face Denial. They looked really good against Envy as well. Are you worried about them? Do you think they're the second best team in this group right now?
They do look like they're the second best team in this group, but we're not worried about them at all.
You guys got some spicy stuff prepared for them?
Yeah.
All right, Woon and Kim. Before we let you go, any shout-outs you want to give?
Shout outs to SoaR, all our sponsors. SoaR is like one of the best orgs probably in the world. Shout out to my teammates, obviously, and that's it.
Well, thanks, Woon Young Kim. We still got one more set for the day, though, so don't go anywhere. Envy takes on Denial up next.